Hello, people. Back at it again. Another episode of The World is Burning. If you're new here, take a seat, give us a sub, join the community, and you can watch the world burn with us. Leave me a comment. I love to hear any thoughts on the economy that you have, how you guys are experiencing it. This channel, we're just following the economic issues everyone's going through, and we're going to be following some of these 2024 collapses. Today, we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to look at some people's take and some people's predictions of the economy in 2024. Let's get into it, guys.
The stock market is in for a huge correction in 2024, and the warning signs are becoming evident. The unemployment rate is a key indicator for identifying recessions because companies tend to cut jobs as the first response to economic challenges. And for the past few years, unemployment was at all-time lows, which is a part of the reason the stock market has been so resilient. But now, things are changing. For the first time since the pandemic, job losses are rapidly increasing, and the unemployment rate made a new 52-week high in August. The gray bar on this chart indicates recessions, and we notice that every time job losses spike, a recession is triggered.
Yep, the recession's coming, guys. This comment here, not in 2024, in 2025 probably. I think this is probably incorrect. I think 2024 is going to be the year of chaos and we're all going to feel it, and this is really going to start happening. 2025 is going to be the leftovers year, taking care of whatever happened in 2024. It's just going to be the issues that we're dealing with in 2025.
Here's what we know about the recession coming in 2024. According to Statista, there's up to a 70% chance of a recession in early 2024. If we do get a recession, economic activity is going to be down, consumer spending is going to be down, unemployment is going to rise. This is all because the Federal Reserve has been increasing interest rates almost non-stop over the past 2 years to cool down the economy and fight inflation. So that must mean the stock market is going to crash too, right? You can see that during recessions, the stock market actually does pretty well. I mean, in some cases, you could see negative 37% in 2007, but apart from that, the other recessions haven't really been bad. And it's really the 6 months before, the 12 months before a recession where you usually see those negative returns like 9 times out of 10. However, in the 6 months, 12 months, and 2 years after a recession, more likely than not, the stock market is up, and in many cases up by a lot. So after looking at the data, it might not be as bad as people think, and there might not even be a recession still. Some people like Goldman Sachs believe that the chances of recession are actually down to 15%, not 70%. There's been some fear in the stock market lately, but it's still up a lot this year, and I think in the long term, it's a great time to be buying. Let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, whenever someone says there isn't a recession, I think we're currently living through it, but yeah, we'll see.
What's going to go on with the world economy? Tell me.
We're going to have a reset in 2024. Every time we have a dragon year, that's usually when the reset comes. Last time we had a big major reset was 2000 with the dot-com bubble, and that was also a dragon year. The Fed is going to have to introduce their Fed coin because a lot of other countries don't want to deal with the dollar anymore. So the Fed's going to have to do something, or it's going to be the U.S. military because they have to protect their dollar. The reason that America is the world superpower is because the petrodollar system, that is crumbling. At some point, the Fed's going to have to basically step in and be like, you know what, we're going to have a Fed coin. And for that to happen, a lot of these other coins have to die first.
Yeah.
What's going to go on with the world economy? Tell me.
I love Sam Tripoli in the Tinfoil Hat Pod. I'm not a big numerology guy. I agree with Brian here. He lost me at the Dragon year, but everything else he talked about was pretty bang on.
So, as the headline suggests, things aren't looking great in the UK right now, and here's 2 reasons why I think we could go into recession in 2024. I want you to cast your eyes over the graph behind me. Now, what you'll notice is by the headline, it says insolvencies at the highest level since 2009. Here are insolvencies right now. Look at that sharp increase. And that was 2008, 2009, and we all know what happened there. Now, insolvencies are when businesses can't pay their debts, and of course most businesses therefore go under if this happens. And when businesses go under, this leads to, of course, increased unemployment. Now, unfortunately, in a recession, you usually do see businesses going under and unemployment increasing. But unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. Let's look at what the Bank of England is saying. The UK is to see 0 growth until 2025. Now, a recession is actually 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. But let's be honest, if growth is expected to stagnate, this could easily go negative. And then as a result, we'll be officially in a recession. So yeah, it's not looking great for next year. Hopefully I'm wrong, of course, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. And of course, like and follow for more finance and investing content.
Yeah, guys, I personally think we are in a recession right now. Like you said, I always thought that was the recession definition, two consecutive negative quarters. They've rechanged that now. They've changed the definition of it. But yeah, I think we're in a recession now, guys.
Prediction for biggest business loser in 24 is actually the German economy. There's two big problems there. First is that the loss of cheap Russian gas has really cut the legs out from under the German industrial model. Their entire economy is based on industrial output, and cheap Russian gas was sort of at the foundation of that. As you guys know, someone blew up the Nord Stream pipeline.
Who did that?
I think that has really hurt the German economy. And then second, the German car industry has been massively impacted by a sudden glut of cheap cars coming from China. So if you look at the Chinese automotive industry, it's really exploded in the last few years. And auto exports is one of the biggest products that Germany manufactures. And with German costs going up and Chinese costs coming down, that's just not a very good place for them to be. For biggest
Yeah, I've heard bad things about Germany and their economy and the whole of the EU in general. Yeah, that's one to watch. I feel like that's going to be one of the dominoes that goes down first. Leave me your thoughts, guys.
Will the U.S.
If you are a German viewer of the channel, I don't even know if I have any, leave me your thoughts. I'd love to hear the take from a German.
enter a recession in 2024? Well, Wall Street, Main Street, and C-Suite have all weighed in, and the results are mind-blowing. According to this new survey done by Bloomberg Finance, you can see that in the Wall Street section in green, the Fed staff has literally accounted that there is a 0% chance that the U.S. will go into recession.
Ridiculous.
Where the yield curve says there is a 61% chance, and Wall Street economists say there's a 48% chance likelihood. Now, on Main Street, consumers believe there's a 69% chance, and in the C-suite category, you can see Goldman Sachs believes there's a 15% chance, Bank of America says there's a 35 to 40% chance of recession, and CEOs think there's an 84% chance. Now, how can all of these numbers be so radically different?
Because they're all chatting shit and they're making it up and they don't want to scare people. So they're saying, no, there's no chance for a recession when we're already in one, guys. This comment here is quite good. We are already in a recession. Take out government spending and we are in a deep recession. I don't think people even think about this. A lot of the GDP, a lot of the stuff is this government spending, this crazy government spending. And if we got rid of that, you'd see that the numbers aren't anywhere near as good as they think they are.
So follow this two trends to predict if the economy is going to melt down in 2024. First, the inflation data. Currently, the CPI is trending down. This is great. It means that prices are getting more stable and have stopped rising. However, the next CPI data is expected to be slightly up. We will see the CPI report next week. The second trend you need to look for is business growth. Data shows that businesses cannot raise their prices because consumers are not willing to pay more anymore. This is great from an inflation standpoint, but the thing is, businesses want to grow. If they can't raise their prices and can't increase the number of sales in the current economy, they will have to lower their costs, which usually means cutting jobs. This would be a really bad trend that could push the economy into a bad recession. As long as the inflation is low, the Fed will be able to lower interest rates to stimulate growth in the economy. But if inflation goes back up, the Fed will not be able to do that anymore. And if the growth goes down at the same time, we could be in a stagflation territory. This is why
Yeah, it's not looking good, guys. Leave me a comment or keep the conversation going, guys. We're getting some great comments right now. What are your thoughts on this? When do you think it'll happen? How do you think 2024 is going to play out? We'll do one more, then we'll get out, guys.
Exactly what's going on in our country of why we're so divided. We are living in a dual economy. There is a good economy and a bad economy. Who's living in a good economy? Anyone who bought a house from the year 2020 and before is significantly doing better in today's economy. Why? Because they're not burdened with the astronomical mortgage price or astronomical rent price. Number two, those of you who do not have college debt, you are not burdened by the college debt, or you have a few $100. I have seen people even comment that they have $1,400 a month in student loan payments. The average in the country is $503. That is a huge burden, especially if the incomes aren't keeping up. And the last one that is running rampant in our country is the daycare cost. It is $350 a week for an infant. Not a private, not a bougie, not a privileged, just the normal Go to daycare is $350 for an infant. I see parents telling me in their comments they're spending $4,000 a month on 2 or 3 children for daycare. So if your kids are out of school or not in daycare and you get to save that money, not have the high rent prices and no college, $75K, you are crushing it in today's economy. But what are people going to point to, especially in an election year? How great the economy is, which is good for half the country. But there's another half that we cannot ignore and can't write them off as complaining. We need to literally pay attention to what's going on, not because of this year alone, but because where we're going to be in 5 years if we don't make a change.
And that's it, guys. Where we are in 5 years is going to be so different. This guy here, car payment, forgot about the car payment. Yep, you can't leave the car payment out of that. But yeah, guys, leave me a comment. I love hearing from the community. And I'll catch you on the next one. But yeah, tell me what you think the 2024 economic predictions are going to be.